The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style.
Well, hello and welcome to the Big H Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Heise. And for my guest on this episode, I have colleague, fellow broadcaster, friend, Mr. Bill Smith of Merton Williams Middle School. Bill, it is great to have you on the podcast.
Coach Heise, I'm flattered you'd want me on here, so thanks, man.
All right, man. All right, now, so our format is like we usually get to know you a little bit, and doing that, I like to go back to some biographical information on the life and times of Bill Smith. So, start a little bit about when you were born, where you were born, parents, and things of that nature.
I was born and raised in Buffalo, just north of Buffalo, in a town called Kenmore. It bordered Buffalo, so I just say I'm from, Buffalo, New York. My folks were from there. I was there for most of my life up until graduating college. Then I moved to Rochester. It was after moving to Rochester that I decided to go into education. So I did my grad work I had done my undergrad at Fredonia, had a great education there in art. Went back to grad school to become an art teacher. I went to Nazareth and landed my teaching job in Hilton when I had finished school there, and here I remain in the Rochester area and happily in Hilton for a bunch of years now.
Growing up, did you have any siblings there in Kenmore?
I have one younger brother. He and I tight growing up. Couple different career paths, I suppose, but he's still in the Buffalo area and still very tight. Still my best friend in the world.
That's great. What's his career path? What did he branch off into?
He works in retail. He is I suppose the title would be warehouse manager at Best Buy.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, very good. And it's good to hear that you're still close. In terms of your early education, your elementary education, kindergarten through 6, tell us a little bit about that.
I think is it cliche to get right to my favorite thing was always art. I want to think I was a pretty good student. Academically I did well, grades, performance, however you want to look at it, whatever standards you want to give it. But art was where I always connected. My K-6 art teacher, I remember that guy very well. My middle school art teachers, I remember very well. And then, getting on into high school, I had one teacher through high school. I went to a school that had one art teacher and she was wonderful. So art was always where I felt, is it right? Maybe it's right to say most talented. I'm good at math. I can write, but art was where I felt the most successful. And it was always what I connected with. I doodled and been drawing my whole life, but when there's a room in the building, you're going to school every day. It's your job, as a kid, but there's a room in there where the thing you do in there is art. That was befuddling to me. It was wonderful. So that was always my favorite.
Do you remember the names of those teachers at all?
K5, it was a man named Mr. Aldrich. When I was in middle school, it was a guy named Mr. Kick and then Mr. Swanson. And Mr. Swanson was the first teacher that I had that connected with maybe pop culture things. He was much like myself, very into drawing things in the pop culture realm, comic books and superheroes and things. And when I saw a guy in a teacher role, the real life, who liked the same stuff, I went, this could work. Okay, this I like this. And it was very inspiring.
Very good. I'm sorry to cut you off. When you were, do you remember any of your first projects that you did that maybe man, this is good, or maybe hey, um, got to put a little extra work, or was it drawing especially, or did you do sculpture or anything like that, or was it pretty much pencil
Drawing for me
and
was always
color?
drawing for me was always the one. Pencil and sketchbook and you know colored pencil here and there, pen here and there, but it was always drawing. I remember in this was second or third grade, somewhere in that realm, middle of elementary school. We were drawing some kind of landscape. I got to be very honest. I don't remember the exact details of the project, but I started doing your classic V birds and put them on there, and was kind of proud of what I was doing. And my art teacher, he gave me a friendly but stern look, and he said, "No, no, come here, and Billy, this is how we do birds." And he just showed me just how to manipulate, just to make it more of an organic shape, just to make it just this much more realistic. And it's something that I've always remembered, and I probably given the same exact different different phrasing perhaps, but the same exact lesson to 20 kids through more through my own career. Is there is a time and a place, and there's no problem with the V birds, but let me show you how that can be a little bit better. So I recall that one vividly, and just loving being in that room when I was in elementary school. And into middle school, I would say that the thing if this was what you're angling for, forgive me, most proud of, I did a mural on the wall of that art room that, to my knowledge, is still there. The school closed a number of years ago. It's no longer a middle school.
Hmm.
But right up until the last days of it, my aunt was a TA in that building, and she said it was still there. I can't put a date on it. Let's say 2016, which 17, which
Hmm.
means that thing lasted for over 20. I painted it in 1993, so it was still there.
Okay. What was it of?
No one who knows me would be surprised to hear that it was of Spider-Man.
I do remember when I was coaching with you that you had an affinity for Spider-Man. So,
I've been known to dabble.
what's the phrase of him? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, sir. And bestowed on him
Now,
from Uncle Ben. That's where it all started.
now, when I'm teaching and I try to teach kids writing, and they're like, "I'm not a good writer," and so then you try to bring them along, scaffold assignments, and
Hmm?
give them self confidence to bring that out. How does that transfer into the artistic world?
Find the, at least this is how I approach it. Find the smallest or biggest, wherever you can isolate. Find the success that's there already. Highlight. All right, this is good. This, they're trying to draw a dog, and oh, the outline, the contour of the head. This is excellent. This shape is fabulous. The shape of the nose. This is a little wonky. This is a little off. We can adjust here. Start in with what they've already done well, because there is, and that's not a gimmick. That's not a ploy. There is always
Hmm.
something that was done well, no matter how
Hmm.
uh, bad is the wrong word, but no matter how inaccurate, no matter how bad a student thinks the work is, something strong is there. It might be this much of it, but it's there. And if I can anchor in on that and grow from that point, or grow from that moment, it helps a lot.
Now, obviously, you have a huge interest in art. What about sports?
Always been a huge fan. Want to give that the origins of that probably, and just I don't know, growing up a big sports fan, probably want to give all that love to my dad. Um, Wearing this, you got the Bills right here. I'm kind of stuck with
Hmm.
my Buffalo teams. The Sabres are not good, and they haven't been for a number of years. But I'm stuck with them. The Bills, as a someone who in the middle school, there's a whole mess of us that are ardent Bills supporters. I'm one of the ones that bleeds their colors and rolls in on Monday morning excited to talk about it, or angry to talk about it, or everything in between. But my
Right.
dad was a big sports guy his whole life, and that's kind of where that love began. I played baseball much of my life. It was really the only organized thing. Yet I played a lot of tennis too. The only organized thing, but there was always a football game on, or a hockey game on, or a baseball game on. It was always on the TV, and it was always something around. And it's where it all began. And in Buffalo, you're stuck with your teams, or at least I am, and you grow from there. And
Hmm.
I found my way to a baseball team. Didn't go with Dad's Yankees, but I have a love for baseball. So it's probably that's a long-winded way of saying it started with my dad.
Right. Good. Me too. Um, were you in any clubs in high school or any other hobbies?
I play like I said, there was sports appreciation things that we did. There was a um, card game club that I was in where we did, like collectible card games. The stuff that was really popular in the '90s. Um, Art clubs, uh, charitable things through my high school. I went to a high school in Buffalo, St. Joe's, a private school. I was a part of a couple of societies that did, food drives and charity with a charity focus, I suppose. Um, did a lot of drawing, did a lot of art, did a lot of comic book reading. It was a big part of my and
Hmm.
honestly, after school, played a lot of pickup sports, tons and tons. My afternoons were usually throwing a ball, throwing a football, hitting a hockey puck with my friends.
Good. Now, and let's if we move on to your college days. Obviously, Fredonia is really close to where you grew up. How did that decision come to be had to go to Fredonia? Was it just a good art school and everything, or what
It
laid on
it
your heart going
was
there?
it was a SUNY school that was close enough, but not too close. It was among the better art schools in the entire state. It's dynamite, and it's gotten even better even since I was there. The program was really good. I
Hmm.
really connected with the teachers when I looked at the place, the professors that I met when I toured, and gosh, this would have been 96, 97,
Okay.
and had great teachers going through there, and really enjoyed the campus. Liked it a lot. It helped that a couple of my best friends were going there also, so there was a connection there. I had a cousin who'd gone there and sort of prepped me as well, so there were a lot of factors. The art piece was big, and it was really strong there. I looked at a couple other places, but Fredonia is where I landed.
Now, did you live on campus or did you live at home and commute?
Commuting would have been over an hour, so it was far enough that the way I always looked at it and the way I say it now is it was far enough that my parents couldn't just show up. But it was close enough that if I needed to make a phone call and ask someone to show up, they could.
Right.
So, but no, I lived on campus for a couple of years. Then I lived in off-campus apartments with some buddies.
Gotcha. Now, when you were at school, I know, did you pick up broadcasting there too? I thought I
I did.
remembered you
Yep,
doing hockey games.
that was where it started. I went to my freshman year. This is probably still in the month of August. There was a clubs and extracurricular and some kind of fair for all
Hmm.
that stuff. And I happened by the radio station and was talking to whomever was manning the booth and said, "What about doing sports stuff?" And they said, "Hey, come on, we'll try it out." And I did. I was doing afternoon sports updates during shows within a week. I was doing play-by-play for hockey and basketball and baseball within a month with that school year. I mean, I wasn't doing baseball within a month, but within
Hmm.
my freshman year, I was doing play-by-play for games and doing color, and it was all student run. I can't speak to how they do it now,
Hmm.
but there was gonna maybe sound bad, but there was no faculty around. It was the radio station when I was there. It was all students all the time. There was I'm sure there's a faculty member who I'm forgetting, but and that was the appeal is that it was it's a great learning experience. But I was a guy that also I didn't intend to go into broadcasting. I never did. I knew it was a hobby, but it was a hobby that I could get really immersed
Hmm.
in. I was an art major. I was the sports director my junior year. So I was able to do that quite a bit, and I had a lot of fun with it. And then when I graduated and went into beginning of an art career and then teaching, I never expected to be able to go back to it. And that's been a fun change.
Hmm. Nice to have that experience in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Um, where'd you do student teaching? Where'd you do your student teaching?
Rush Henrietta was my secondary, and Livonia was my primary. I was at the Livonia, I believe it's the primary school, K through 2. Forgive me.
Hmm.
And the good folks at Livonia, I can't remember if it's K2. I think it's a K2 building.
And did you have a preference, or you just wanted to teach art, no matter what level the kid was?
I think a lot of us, and I think those that teach art, a lot of us come out saying we want to teach secondary. We want to teach, the high school kids that are doing the biggest, the baddest, that type of thing. I think that's where my head was when I started, and then coming out of student teaching,
Hmm.
I didn't have a high school placement. I had a middle school placement, and loved teaching middle school, and it's still where I am today. So clearly that connected. But I also came out of it really enjoying my primary experience, and in jumping jumping ahead in the timeline, uh, I've had the opportunity to teach K-12 in Hilton, and I have had great experiences everywhere. I I am certainly leaning. The middle school is where my heart is, but I had a great time teaching K-6 and a great time teaching high school.
How many years have you been teaching?
This is my 19th year in Hilton, and this is it's my first gig. This is where I started.
Now, what are other jobs that opened the door for you? Like, did you do any other occupations early on that maybe weren't art related, but those summertime jobs, those you know other jobs at college that helped give you some spending money?
In college, I think like a lot of us, I had a bunch of different things. I did work study where I was essentially a secretary in the music building, filed papers and distributed things, and got to know a lot of the faculty and folks around that building. Great program there too for all you music lovers. But I worked in food service. I made subs. I cleaned tables. I did dishes. And then my junior and senior year, my primary gig I refereed for intramural sports. I started doing floor hockey, which was one of the more intense ones. That was a sort of a baptism by fire. But I was refereeing floor hockey, flag football, basketball, wiffle ball, lots of broom ball in the wintertime. And
Oh
my
yeah.
hours in intramurals, that became, especially my senior year, that became kind of my only job. I did it a lot. I was one of the guys that did the most hours, but that was my gig.
Hmm.
I refereed a lot of intramural sports. But the
Now you ref. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, I was about to give credit to. I'd be remiss if my summer jobs through college. I worked at a summer camp, and I was at a resident camp, overnight camp that remains a huge part of my life. It's Camp Corey. It's in the Finger Lakes. It's where
Oh
I
yeah, I know that.
went there with, and then went on to meet more of my best friends in the world. I met my wife there. It's where I spent the best summers of my life there, and learned a lot about being a teacher. And frankly, this is going to sound poetic and maybe corny, but I kind of learned who I was as a person, as a camp counselor, way more than in a school setting. But that job set me up to be a teacher, maybe more than anything I've ever done.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on that question. What did you learn about yourself as a camp counselor that kind of solidified your skills or opened your eyes to as an educator or as a person?
It was an environment where you didn't have to be shy. I was a quiet kid, and I think anyone that's ever been in my classroom may not. I mean, I have a voice that projects in my classroom, which I like to think I do. I've there's
Hmm.
uh, more than one teacher in my hallways had to close their door just because I'm teaching, nothing else. And I'm never offended. I get it. But I was a shy kid. I really was. I was really into my geeky stuff, and I was pretty quiet about it. And at Corey at summer camp, it was where it didn't matter who was who. We were all kind of out for the same
Hmm.
thing, to just entertain and take good care of the kids that were there, and to have a good time and give everybody that comes
Hmm.
through there a good experience. And with that being, a kids summer camp. It's where I learned I could maybe teach. I resisted teaching. It wasn't something I wanted. I shouldn't say resisted. It wasn't something I was looking forward to or looking to do. I shouldn't say looking forward to. But then I'll give credit. I've said this before. I'll give credit to my mom. My mom, when I was 18 or 19, said, "You're going to be a teacher." I was already in art school. She said, "Yeah, you're going to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Just you wait." And I,
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say she was right, but I will say she was right. But
Uh-huh.
camp was where working with kids, just in that environment, it's where teaching connected.
Now, you also mentioned that that's where you met your wife. So, speak a little bit about your wife and your family now. Let's hear about that.
She met in the summer of 2002. Long haired Mike, I'll have to find you a picture. Long haired Bill Smith, who was a just a silly college student, grad student art guy who she still years later decided she'd give me a chance and she married me. So bless her heart. But she was also a counselor and she worked there. We only overlapped for a year. And then just through the camp community, the once you're, it's kind of like a cult. Once you're part of it, you're sort of never out. And we just, we're friends and ended up getting together and having a family. And now we have 3 kids that are all Hilton students, or one is soon to be.
Okay, great. What ages are they, if I may ask?
I have a son who's in 7th grade, a daughter who's in 4th grade, and our youngest daughter is in pre-K. She will be arriving at Northwood next year.
Wonderful, Bill. I'm glad there's more Smiths around. You can always use more.
The Smith,
And
it's
you would
not the most
never.
common name. I can't even make that joke. There's a million Smiths, but in my house there's 5.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Do you reside in Hilton, or do you have to drive in from elsewhere?
We live in Greece, so we drive in, but it's not that far. Yeah, it works out.
Now, your other roles that you've taken on in Hilton. Are you're still the program coordinator for the art department?
Yep.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Talk a
Proudly.
little bit about that role, what it entails, and what you like about it.
I say from time to time that um, I'm the art department. I am their congressman. I represent their interests. So when, depending on the building, depending on the situation, positive, something that needs addressing, what have you, I'm the one that carries the message back and forth. I'm the one that goes to the meetings where it's, the things then get communicated through. But I'm also the one that looks at the curriculum from top to bottom and make sure things are organized as well as we can. We are art people. That sometimes some of the things people think about our teacher and organization, some of it's right. I'm just gonna say that. But some of it's not right, and there's I know there's a couple of my art colleagues who are gonna say that I'm the disorganized one, and I probably am. But anyway, but I get the pleasure then of when it's a curricular setting or a meeting setting, just being the voice of the department, and I am privileged to do that. I work with awesome people, and I think they are happy with the work I do. I hope so, anyway. Uh, but I'm proud to represent the 10 people plus the middle school dope who's sitting right here. In all of these and all these meetings that we go to, I'm proud to represent my people.
Well, and talk a little bit more. Talk about art clubs and art shows, because I think in the spring Village has theirs. I think you got 3. I think there's big events coming up. I got an email from you a couple weeks ago. Talk a little bit about those events that are on the horizon.
Uh, we get as soon as next week begins, we sort of begin a 4 month or so span where we've got a number of shows. There was a February event at the middle school that I am very proud of. We started a number of years ago called 5x5. It is a charity art show we do at the middle school. I did the math. I think this is the 8th one with a crowd. We had a couple years of a blip because of that thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I think so. But it's an event that we're very proud of. Myself and all the teachers that have been involved. We raise money for charity and get a nice crowd for a singular building event. Um, Empty Bowls is an event that has happened in this district for a number of years. It's sort of a collaboration between um, primarily the three K6 buildings, the three elementary schools, with some contributions from the middle school and the high school, and that's even going to be more so in the future. That one comes our way this year from Quest. That kind of bounces between buildings from year to year. Quest will have it this year, and Empty Bowls is a wonderful event. A lot of hard work goes into it from the teachers involved and the students involved, and it's also a charity event. There's a fundraising piece that goes toward some great causes, and that's another good one that's in March. We then hit our break. Oh, I'm skipping over a new one this year. For the first time, we have a senior only exhibition. Part of the juniors and seniors that take our advanced classes at the high school, part of the diploma program requirements that they have with their assessment is they put on an exhibition. And this year there's a big class of seniors, and we'd like to host a specific show externally. So we're actually having an exhibition at the community center up on what
Nice.
used to be, I believe, the auditorium when it was a high school many moons ago. So there will be a senior exhibition in that space, and that'll be the same week of Empty Bowls, and the opening will actually be the same evening across the street. So if folks are so inclined, go have your meal and see your wonderful work from the elementary students at Empty Bowls, and then let's hope the weather permits a nice little stroll across the street to the community center where you can see some of the
Sure.
incredible work from our senior class.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, and then I'd be remiss if I didn't. In the month of May, you've got your building shows in Village, Quest, Northwood, and the high school, and then the building show at Merton Williams, which is also a concert, is in June. So we have the five sort of biggest might not be the right word, and the Empty Bowls for all its parts maybe the biggest. They're all big in their own way, but the largest assortment of work on display is certainly the five building shows that come in May and June, and each one is incredible, and each one is a great display of a year's worth of awesome work. And every teacher and every student artist that we work with, you see some amazing things, and I'm glowingly proud of it. Probably because I'm not just a PC, but a guy that's worked in the district a long time, worked with these teachers a long time, is a parent now for a long time in the district, and I'm very proud of the work that everybody does.
Yeah, you should be, because it is impressive, and every year I look forward to the spring. And poor Emily Sears looks like her fingers are going to bleed with all that masking tape she's putting on, but she does it with a smile. Another thing that I've really enjoyed is the district calendar always includes artwork from the kids around the district. Do you have any hand in putting that together?
Um, no, yes, in that I always ask Grace, our wonderful communications director, to keep the art as a part of the calendar.
Hmm.
I get in her ear maybe once a year, every other year, because I think it's something that's at this point a tradition that people really appreciate.
Absolutely.
But that Grace comes out to all of the shows, takes a ton of pictures, finds great things. She'll ask for a name here or a picture of this there, but the work that goes into the calendar comes from the choices of it comes from her end, and she's never made a bad choice. I love the calendar as it's a great sort of what is the word I'm looking for here? It's very broad. You've got K through 12. You've got each building. Over a 2-year span, you probably hit all 11 of the teachers. So I mean, you've got a great breadth of things there.
Yeah, I mean, one year I was teaching third grade, and it highlighted one of my students who is very, I don't want to say antisocial, but just doesn't really talk. But when he saw that, it was just like unbelievable, and it made his year. So yeah, it is great. I want to slide in a little bit more of your extracurricular activities. Talk a
Sure.
little bit about your coaching throughout the district that you've done.
Uh, I started with the gentleman who's on the screen with me here when I started in the district as a a young art teacher who had just come in, learned randomly is maybe the wrong word, but learned sort of happenstance that the varsity baseball coach was in my building. Introduced myself to him, said, "Hey, played a lot of baseball, would love to help out in some way," and he quickly connected me with you. I worked with this guy here. I don't know if I'm pointing the right direction when people see this. So wherever Mike is, uh, worked with that guy for a year. And Coach Heiss, I will immediately say I learned a ton about coaching from you right away. Certainly quite a bit about baseball, but the coaching side of it, I learned a lot. I did that role with baseball with Mod A, with Mod B, a little bit with here and there with Coach D'Agostino and JV until I landed with. I spent 1 year. I sort of slid over and I helped out with Coach Jeff Parazek and East Ridge softball. I was his varsity assistant for a year, and then came back and I was the proudly the JV coach for Hilton softball program for 11 years, and then I did a year in mod. And I actually, with my own kids' lives getting busier, I have stepped away for the time being. I can't say I'll never be back, but I stepped away. But I did 10 or 11 years in the softball program and loved it. Loved working with all the coaches. Coach Santola runs a great program. Love the kids. Love the game of baseball / softball, and it was great.
Okay, you were good at it too, Bill. You were fun to work with, and I think you were working with me for free, and that's really a blessing. So,
you know what? I worked with you and with Coach Wheelahan and with Coach D'Amico and Coach D'Agostino. I was technically, yes, for free. I was maybe paid in hats like that one, and a T-shirt here and there and that. But it was awesome experience, and it when I finally did have a gig that paid me actual money, I had learned a ton, so it was great.
Sure. How about announcing? Like, let's first talk maybe a little bit about varsity media, where that
Sure.
that skill and that experience from college came back to be fruitful now.
So there was, and I think you worked with him quite a bit with Village Radio that started in 15, 16.
Yeah, I'm terrible with the years, but take it from here.
Somewhere in there. And I believe, and you can fill in my gaps if I'm wrong, you were calling football games. That was something that RJ, who was the mastermind behind Village Radio and did some amazing stuff, you guys were doing football, and I got wind of it, and maybe they started doing basketball first, I'm not sure. And I got wind of that and went to Mike Ceruzzi, our athletic director, and said, well, what about hockey? And he connected me with RJ, and we started doing hockey. Hockey was one that I did at Fredonia, and it was my favorite one to do. I just I love the pace of the game. I love calling it. I think I'm kind of good at it. I don't know.
Absolutely, yes, you are.
I appreciate that. I put that fishing rod out, and he baited that and took it and complimented me. Thanks, Coach. So that's where that started. And then when Varsity Media picked up in the area and started covering some games, they were using announcers either from the school or just kind of local. And I got connected through RJ and then through Mike and then through those channels. And Ben Turchin, love working with his company because I get the opportunity when it's Hilton games to do play-by-play for, hockey here, basketball there. But I've also been fortunate that when Ben is in need, if there's I did Webster football in the fall. I've done basketball sectional games that didn't involve the cadets. I did it last winter. I did I may have the classes wrong, but I did 4 girls sectional finals. I believe it was C1, C2, B, and AA, all in one day. It was for Varsity Media, and it is like I mentioned when I left Fredonia, I had no intention of going into broadcasting professionally, but this has given me the opportunity to do just a little of it, and it's a great hobby, and it does. There's a little pay involved, which is another thing which is good about it, but it's tons of fun, and I really enjoy it. Sorry about that.
What is that? A cat?
My cat just walked by. Yes.
Yeah, we just got a couple more questions here, Bill, and then I'll let you get
Sure.
to your family. Um, and I think you've kind of already insinuated on this. What's your advice to a young artist, to that kid that you know has some ability but has some trepidation? What do you say to that student?
I would say keep doing your thing. I would want to know, not to pull apart your question. I'd want to know maybe where the trepidation lies. Is
Hmm.
it what they're drawing embarrasses them? Is it that they're drawing? Is it someone at some point told them they either weren't good or maybe they were good and they don't know how to keep going? I'd want to know maybe where that weariness begins. But like any skill, uh, Connor McDavid didn't get good at hockey by watching hockey. He got good by practicing.
Hmm. Hmm.
LeBron didn't become what LeBron is by watching Michael Jordan. He went out and shot tens of thousands of shots. So just like with sports and any skill, practice, draw, draw, draw. When kids show me things, I'm always quick to say this is fantastic, this is great. You know what you could do with this color. You know what you could do with this line, and just hope that oh yeah that's right, and click that spark. Practice, practice, practice.
And this is my final question before final thoughts. And
Sure.
can you give us three words that might describe the Hilton community, the Hilton School District for you?
Whew. Um, Only three.
You can take as many as you want. It's your show, your podcast.
Proud. I think the the families, the people that live and pay taxes, the teachers, the kids themselves. I think we're proud of the red and the black, the five schools, the community
Hmm.
itself. I think um, you kind of feel it when you talk to people. I think that's the right way to put it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I'm I'm someone that when my wife and I were looking to land and buy a house when we were beginning our married life, we Hilton was purposefully what we wanted to do. She teaches in Spencerport. It was kind of, we would have been happy either way, but I think we're both
Hmm.
very proud of where we landed with Hilton. Welcoming. I'd like to think that's true. I, I've never known anybody from on my in my sphere of influence to not be. Um, I new students, new teachers. Come on in, let's go.
Hmm.
I want to think that's right.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm having a hard time, not because there aren't choices, but because I'm trying to narrow it down. Um, I'm going to say creative. I think the music program, Shallon Pastilli, the PC on, and her entire team of colleagues, and then my entire team of colleagues. I think music and art. I think we have excellent programs. I'm saying that on behalf of the people that I get to work with. I think creative is a way to go. And there's a lot of creativity in sports. There's a lot of creativity in the sciences. There's a lot of creativity in a lot of places. I think that's something we try to foster.
Well, I think there's. It's hard to narrow three down, and I think you nailed three down. And Bill, I've known you your entire career at Hilton, and there's one thing that I can say is you're one of the most positive people I know. And whenever I run into you in the building or at a sporting event, you're always got that smile on your face. You address me as Coach Heise. You have that feel that you are proud to be in the district, and you're proud to be amongst your colleagues and amongst the students. And people like you make me proud to be part of the Hilton Central District. And I'm really glad you came on our podcast so people see you and keep doing what you're doing. And
I I I certainly plan to, and I'm very flattered to hear you say all that, Coach. In my early coaching career, I certainly learned a ton. But you're a pretty positive stand up guy yourself, there, fella. I get the smiles right back. Don't undersell yourself.
okay. Well, Bill, this has been Mike Heise with the Big H Podcast with Mr. Bill Smith. We'll be back with more people in the future. Thanks for having me, Bill.
Thank you.
All right.
The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find